Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors in Winston-Chester. I'm glad to hear this morning. Got a big show lineup. Got a special guest here. But first, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. High today is going to be 78 and low 63. Water temperature 81 degrees. River readings, fascinating, brought to us by Sandhill Seafood. Take a look at the Apalachicola River at Bluntstown, folks. It is skyrocketing. I mean, it's going straight up. I haven't seen one I haven't seen it read straight up like this in a long time. But right now it's at 6.5. But they're talking about getting on up there to like 14 foot. And that's really high. What they've done, they've opened the gates at Jim Woodruff Dam. It looks like they've opened up all the gates because it's pouring in right now. Take a look at the Chalkahatchee at Caryville. It's going straight up too, but not quite at that angle. It's reading a 9.7. Remember, about 4 or 5 days ago, they were like 1.2 foot and 2.3. They're real low, but they've really gone up. So you got some rising water this weekend if you're going to be on the river system. Tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home. Great tides. We got to look at high tide this morning, 8:24. It's going out. It's going to be at 6:15 low tonight. It's going to be a really strong tide, strong moving tide. Marine forecast, west-southwest at 15 to 25. So it's going to be blowing again. Got about 80% chance of rain. So just be careful out there and take it easy on the outdoors and sort of always look around. And I do talking about looking around. I was at BJ Marine yesterday. I was looking around. They had got a lot of road construction over there on East Avenue at BJ Marine. But I talked to BJ, and you can still get there. And it's hard to call them. The phone lines have been disrupted, and it's not their fault. But they're really having a struggle with the phone lines and calling. But he's got folks coming in there a lot. But you got to come in from 15th Street for about another 3 or 4 days, and then they're going to close off 15th Street for that. All the construction they're doing over there on Transmitter, and then they're going to come in from 11th Street to go to BJ Marine. I wrote myself a note. He said everything's going wide open, but it's hard to get in contact with them on those phone lines. They've been busted up for a little while. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, folks, and welcome to our guest, a familiar face here on Panhandle Outdoors, Officer Travis Bassford.
Good morning.
Travis, you live the real life as far as staying pretty active. You had to work a little bit late last night.
Yes, sir, I did.
Got home late and had to help some of your buddies, and then baby was crying and all kinds of stuff. So all kind of stuff.
It was
real thing. Happened to all of us.
It was a long evening. Baby Bella was having a rough night, and it was on night shift and helping some other officers till early this morning, actually. So.
But you're here, so we're glad you're here. So let's
Yes,
get started.
All righty. Well, I first wanted to start off by talking about something that we don't talk about too much on the show. Usually we're talking about hunting and fishing and resource-related stuff, but another huge part of what we do as FWC officers is boating safety. It's a core mission of FWC, and this week's actually National Safe Boating Week. Nationally and in Florida, it's Safe Boating Week, May 20th through the 26th. And what we want to do by having that week is talk about and make people aware of boating safety and just some important things to remember when you're on the water. We always try to avoid boating accidents by people having the right gear, knowing their navigation rules, making sure they're not BUI and things like that. But we do unfortunately have a lot in the state of Florida where we're the biggest state as far as registered vessels in the nation. We have almost 1 million registered vessels in the state of Florida. I think the next closest is Texas, and with having that many boats and that many people on the water, there's a lot of things going on, especially on these holiday weekends. We've got Memorial Day weekend coming up, and there's going to be a lot of people on the water. So I just want to talk about a few things that can help keep you safe on the water. And the number one thing most people think about when they think about boating safety is life jackets. And life jackets have come a long way, personal flotation devices. Most people think of the big, bulky orange life jackets, but I brought this one in because this is a Type 2 recreational PFD, and this is a Mustang brand, but this is what we wear when we're on patrol. We wear this all the time. It's not very bulky, kind of like it fits over your shoulders, and we wear these all the time, and I've seen more and more people wearing them, especially when you're underway and when you're running, because they're not very, restrictive, and they've got 2 ways you can inflate this: manually with a lanyard here, and then also if you were to fall in the water, there's a device in there. When this gets wet, it will automatically inflate.
That's awesome.
So let's say you're on the river and you hit a stump or log and you're throwing off your vessel and you hit the water, then this PFD will automatically inflate, get your head above water. Same thing in the saltwater if you hit a sandbar or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's a great thing to have. We always wear them, and it's required. U.S. Coast Guard requires that you have a life jacket for everybody on board at all times. You don't have to wear them unless it's a child under 6, okay? But you need to have them on board, and then make sure they're the proper size for everybody on board. So a child that's 50, 60 pounds is going to have a different life jacket than an adult who's 180. And I've talked to people all the time, and some people don't understand that, but they're designed to float different sizes of people. So that's a very important thing. Another thing is knowing your navigation rules, okay? Maintaining a proper lookout. Make sure you operate at a safe speed. I know you mentioned you had talked about that before. Yeah. And a lot of times we don't have a speed limit on the water.
Yeah.
Especially here in Bay County and, Okaloosa, Walton, Gulf County, you're not going to see a speed limit. Now, when I worked down in Palm Beach, we had them for the manatee zone.
Oh, you did have a speed zone.
We did, yeah. So, but up here you don't. So what is the safe speed? Well, that's going to be up to the conditions, the prevailing conditions and circumstances. I mean, is it nighttime? Is it daytime? What's the visibility? What are the seas? What's the wind doing? And what's the vessel traffic? If there's a lot of other boats on the water, it's always a good idea to slow down until you can process the things that are coming at you. So know your navigation rules. When you get to a crossing situation, I know we're going to have the holiday weekend coming up here in Bay County. Shell Island, Panama City Pass, Grand Lagoon.
Well, that's an area where you got to slow down. You can't go full speed through that area right there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just going to be so congested, and know what to do in a crossing situation. So many times I see people when you're coming up to the pass here in Bay County, and whether you're coming, outbound or inbound, and you've got all these boats coming out of Grand Lagoon. Okay, they're coming around Deepwater Point, and then you've got all these other boats coming from Shell Island. So you've got a big-time crossing situation there. You need to know who has the right-of-way. There's rules on the water just like there's rules on the road, and it's important to know that to avoid a collision, because that's the last thing we want. Another thing I want to talk about is BUI. I was helping some officers last night here locally with a BUI. It's boating under the influence. I don't know if you've seen the signs around. We've got a couple on 231 there. And, we're going to be cracking down on this boating season, because we have zero tolerance for impaired boaters, whether you're under the influence of alcohol or drugs. It's dangerous. It's one of the leading causes of fatal boating accidents in Florida, that and operator inattention. And last year we had over 700 boating accidents in Florida. 67 were fatal.
Wow.
So
I don't know what that means.
Right. So we want that number to go down. And in order to do that, we're going to be cracking down on BUIs and the navigation rules, make sure people are paying attention to hopefully bring that number down in 2017. And then another thing I want to talk about is our boating safety ID card law, okay? If you're born after January 1st, 1988, and you operate a 10 horsepower or greater, you need a boating safety ID card, okay? A lot of people know that, but if you're born before that day, you can still go take the test, take the exam, and get a boating safety ID card. We recommend it because it'll expose you to the BUI law. It'll expose you to some of the navigation rules, life jackets, fire extinguisher, flares, all these things, throwable device, things that you need safety gear-wise on your boat. So we would recommend that. And I think you had a question about that throwable device.
Well, I do, but let's take a quick break. We'll be right back and pick it up. Okay, welcome back. Going to wrap up boating safety, but it's really important. But this is the book you were talking about.
Yes, sir.
We keep it here on the desk, and but it's got all kind of great information in it.
That's it, and that's available online too. myfwc.com/boating.
Yeah, and we'll go over the navigation thing is important too. But
it is.
Again, I talk about speed. You see it out there.
Speed's a problem a lot of times.
One quick question from the folks down on the creek and all: do you need a throwable life cushion on the creek boats?
The way the law reads is if it's less than 16 feet, then you're not required to have a throwable device. Once you get a vessel that's over 16 feet, then you have to have it. We recommend having it, but it's not required if you're under 16 feet. So a lot of those river boats, they're 14 and a half, 15 foot. They would not be required to have the throwable.
And I'm like you, we always have one. At my dad's old boat, we have one. So it's good to have a throwable. And I got one of those cases where a lady drowned because her husband couldn't reach her and he couldn't throw out anything, throw out on a small boat. So that's a while back. So anyway, boating safety is important. All right.
It is. Okay. Well, we've also got some license-free fishing days coming up.
Yeah.
I want to talk about those because it's actually freshwater and saltwater. Again, this is the most busy time of year for us, boating and fishing-wise. So for saltwater, coming up, first Saturday and Sunday in June, you will be exempt from all licenses saltwater. Okay, and it's a great opportunity for adults if they don't fish a lot and they want to take a kid fishing, they want to do it legally, or if you've got some people coming in from out of town, they want to go fishing, they don't really go much. So again, that's the first Saturday and Sunday in June. Okay. That will coincide with our snapper season. One of the days will be the federal season there too. And then freshwater the second Saturday and Sunday in June.
All right.
Free fishing, and that applies to everything the same except for freshwater. So I want to remind everyone, because before I come on again, those will have passed in June. What we've got going on right now offshore, we've got red snapper. The season's been open on the weekends. I've seen some fish. I know that first weekend it was rough as anything, and I know a few people tried to brave it, but you never want to risk your safety. To go out there. There's going to be 78 days total, so there's a lot of days there in state season. But it's about to be open continuously this Saturday before Memorial Day, May 27th through July 9th, okay? And that'll be a good state snapper season. And during that time, remember that gray triggerfish is closed, greater amberjack is closed, but gag grouper will be open in June 1st. So you'll have really a month and 9 days to where gag grouper and red snapper will be open together in state waters, and that'll be nice for everyone to take advantage of that and be able to keep both at the same time. Another thing we've got coming up is bay scallops. Have you heard anything on the scallop count?
Well, I've heard a couple of people told me they're seeing some.
Okay.
They're seeing a little bit.
Good. We're hoping for a good season. We're optimistic.
Yeah.
Hopefully optimistic. I want to go over that. It's July 25th through September 11th. That's in Gulf County. That's the one closest to us there. West bank of the Mexico Beach Canal to the westernmost point on St. Vincent Island in Franklin County. And while we're talking about scallops, we've got about another month or so before it's going to be here, but I want to talk about dive flag stuff. It's another thing kind of associated with boating safety, but remember, open water, 300 feet, we talk about it every year, a football field away. Make sure that you stay that distance away. If for some reason you have to come within 300 feet, bring it down to idle speed. That's barely enough to maintain steerage weight, just barely putting your boat in gear. Okay, and we see that here too. A lot of people like to snorkel there around Shell Island, sometimes around the jetties, the kiddie pool, and same thing applies, okay? Open water, you need to stay at least 300 feet away if you're a boater.
Okay, all right, that covers all that. Have you heard any reports on scallop yourself, or any of the guys down there yet?
I haven't yet. I've talked to some of the Gulf County guys. I haven't heard anything. Kind of anxiously awaiting these counts to come in. When are we expecting those? Because I know you're very involved in that.
I'm going to touch base with her probably next week and see. It should be used as it right now at this time of year.
Good.
Yeah.
I hope we have some good numbers.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Okay, now we got, what else you got?
Well, we've got the Cobia workshop's been going on.
Okay.
I want to talk about that. I know you talked about it on the show, and I attended the one here in Panama City. But we've had them in Tallahassee, Destin, Pensacola, Panama City, and then they had one down in St. Petersburg.
What's been the consensus of the meetings?
Well, the main thing is the reason they've had the meetings, and a lot of people that have showed up to the meetings, they're just concerned about the cobia population. Because in the past several years, at least the past 2 to 3 years especially, we've seen the numbers go down. I say we as recreational fishermen because I like to fish for cobia as well. And just being an FWC officer, being on the water all the time, we don't see as many coming in. So what they're wanting to do is try to get ahead of the situation before it gets really bad, and they're talking about some different things. There's no rule changes on the board yet, but they're talking about some different things they can do to maybe help this fishery out before it really gets in trouble or in peril. So most of the people that are showing up, they're saying the same things. They're saying, I'm not seeing as many cobia. I'm not seeing the fish. Yeah. We're not catching the fish. And that's kind of the consensus we're hearing.
Yeah. That's what I've heard too. See. Okay, anything else now before we go into the break for the case? You got a good case of the month?
I got a good one. We can take a break if you want.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll be right back with Travis. Okay, welcome back, folks. So glad you're with us this morning. I know a lot of y'all are getting different stages of getting ready to go to work. Some of y'all are going out the door right now. Y'all have a good day. Some of y'all are just waking up. Cindy McGuire, I know you're getting ready to go to Mosley and teach, but We wake a lot of people up and tell a lot of people off. So we're just glad you watch the show. Listen, we got a fishing game time today brought to us by Blue Water. It's one of those midday things now on a one time, 11:39 to 1:39, smack dab in the middle of the day. And there have been some big fish caught in the middle of the day sometimes. You've seen it too.
Oh yeah, big fish and sometimes big deer killed in the middle of the day.
That's right, exactly. That's interesting. Okay, our famous case of the month. I get a lot of comments on these cases of the month when I run into people. They really enjoy these, so they're all true. We don't make them up, right?
Oh yeah, this is
real people.
This all happens.
All right.
All right, so this one, I want to recognize a couple local officers here in Bay County, Officer Carl Hellett and Keelan Alsabrooks. Coach knows these two guys, and they were out working one evening. They conducted a resource inspection on a charter boat. They had been out on a pretty long charter, and were coming in there to Grand Lagoon, and they ended up talking to the people on board. There were 3 people on board, okay, and they had been offshore. They ended up checking their stuff, and they had 56 dolphin, okay, and if you know your limits and everything, your daily bag limit of dolphin is only 10 per person. So they started talking to the people. There was some confusion over the rule, but it was what it was, and they were 26 over the bag limit.
Wow.
So that's not 1 or 2. Not downplaying any of those cases, but 26 over, that's pretty considerable.
Yeah.
So those 26 illegal fish were seized as evidence. They let them keep their legal 30 fish, and they were cited for possession of over the bag limit of dolphin. That was 26 over.
Wow.
So that's a pretty big case by Officer Hellett and Officer Brooks here in Bay County.
And that was on a charter boat.
It was. So kind of those guys do it for a living. They should know better. They either do know better or should know better on keeping that many fish.
And a lot of folks coming out from Georgia and Alabama, they really don't know the rules, and they got to rely on the charter boat folks to tell them that too.
They do.
But now you can get apps. I got an app right here that tells you what the rules and sizes real quick. I mean, so even if you come in from Kalamazoo, Michigan, you still can check it real quick.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when it comes to those charters, the captain was cited here, and most of the time they're the ones that's going to take the ticket because they're responsible for what comes on board their boat. And you've got people from out of town coming in. They rely on, like I say, the captain for the license, the bait, and to know the regulations.
That's
so
true.
anyways, it's a good case by Officer Hellett and Officer Brooks here in Bay County.
Okay, and like I say, the old Roman law that ignorance of the law excuses no one, and that's one of my basic premises throughout American history, in all cases. Okay, now that was a good one. All right, we got a couple of minutes. Let's talk about fishing. And I saw Nicole on TV the other day too on the boating safety.
Oh yeah, she did a good job. She did a good job. We had her and another officer on there for National Safe Boating Week and then Safe Boating Week here in Florida. They did a little outreach thing at St. Andrews State Park. I think Coast Guard was there. We actually had one of our guys from Boating and Waterways that he came and demoed one of our life jackets that I was talking about earlier. But she did good, and like we were talking about before, we got to go fishing. We did a mom and dad fishing trip a couple weeks ago, but it was on that full moon.
Tell us about that full moon trip, because we talk about it here on the show. Y'all went on the day of the full moon.
I tell you what, I've been before, and I've been offshore and got beat up all day and barely caught anything on this full moon. Now, if you go in the morning, if you go later in the afternoon or the evening, I've heard it's better. But we went bay fishing. It was like the day of the full moon or right before, and we fished and fished and fished, and we lost some redfish around some docks that I have here in St. Andrews Bay and East Bay, but we didn't. I'm talking about we fished for 6 hours, and we caught some chofers, and she caught one nice flounder.
Oh,
and
man.
that was it, and it was just like they had lockjaw. I knew these were good spots, but that full moon, they just, I don't know, they weren't eating in the morning or something.
I was telling Travis, and we talked about it on the show, all the things my dad's taught, and we talked about a full moon. He never would fish on the day of the full moon. And it's
wise.
Saltwater and freshwater. He was freshwater fishing, but 3 days before, 3 days after, it'd tear him up. But I passed it on, and I asked some folks that some other people went out there doing anything either, but that's always tough, isn't it?
Yep, those are wise words by your dad, because we should have listened. And I've done it before, and I wasn't really paying attention. I said, "Oh, it's full moon." I said, "Well, this is when we can go." So.
Well, that's what a guy told me too. That's the only time I had off. I had to go then. So
right.
You go when you can.
Exactly.
What do you see when you're out on the patrol? What are you seeing? A lot of what kind of different fish and all being caught this time of year? What are you seeing?
We're seeing a lot of speckled trout this year. It seems like it's a better year for trout. That goes across the board: West Bay, North Bay, East Bay. A lot of redfish being caught, and then I am seeing some flounder. I've seen some good flounder come in from over there, Mexico Beach Canal, the pier, Crooked Island. So there's been some good flounder, and then there's some guys just starting to go. Now this is rod and reel, but there are some guys starting to go at night more and more.
Just a little.
And as we get mid to late summer into the early falls, when that'll really pick up. So just trout, redfish, flounder, but this year seems to be a better year for trout on numbers. What we're seeing.
That's good to hear because I've heard the same thing. Now, what percentage of your people you check that are live bait fishing compared to artificial bait? I've often wondered that in general.
I would say, it depends. If on a boat, I would say it's almost 50-50.
50-50, okay.
It's almost 50-50, and some people when they artificial fish, they do not like to use live bait. Period, and sometimes it's the other way around. But I'd say 50-50, and that goes on the boat and from the hill. I'd say from the hill a little bit more toward the live bait, and on the boat maybe a little bit more toward artificial. But yeah, I'd say it's pretty close down the middle.
That's interesting, 50-50. What about and shrimp and so forth? What are you always seeing for bait, live bait?
Mainly shrimp, bull minnows in the bay. That's what Nicole caught her flounder on the other day was a bull minnow just dragging it on the bottom, and I was using a jig, so that bull minnow worked better than the jig that day.
So she outfished you?
She did, big time. I should have brought that picture in.
I know. Send it to me. We'll put it on too.
Yep.
Wow, we're going to start wrapping things up now. Y'all got a big month coming up, right?
We do, and this weekend we just want to encourage everyone again, be safe out there. There's going to be a lot of people, especially if we had good weather, which we're forecasted to have. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, this coming weekend. Just be careful. Watch out for other boaters. Know your navigation rules, life jacket, safety gear. Just remember all those things.
Okay, now
very important.
I know yesterday I said when I got around to it, I was going to put the names. I got all these names here. We're getting ready for the contest, and I'm going to add these names to the jar tomorrow, okay, for the fishing with Coach trip. All right, so we got. I did write the name on this right here, so we got a lot more, and some of y'all we're going to add to it. So, thank you as always.
Always fun.
All right, buddy. Thank y'all for watching Panhandle Outdoors. We appreciate the viewership. You have a great day today. Do something good for your fellow man, and enjoy the great outdoors. And God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.